This is a presentation of the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the Oklahoma Sports Network's consent is prohibited. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be used without express written consent.
Wow, that was fast. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Mid-Del Sports Report right here at Buffalo Wild Wings in Del City. My name is Jordan Ray. Great to be with you. And first, we want to thank, as always, Buffalo Wild Wings for hosting this. This is so awesome, and it's getting more exciting as we get closer to the playoffs. After all, it's football season at your neighborhood Buffalo Wild Wings. And with 64 TVs, beer, burgers, and, wings, Buffalo Wild Wings is the best choice to watch the game. So bring the gang and join us this season in one of our 9 metro locations. Also, Thunder are playing their first game tonight, so there's that, and the World Series is coming up, and I'll be talking about more about that later on the broadcast. But lots of reasons to come to Buffalo Wild Wings. So Buffalo Wild Wings, your home for any game. Roar. We also want to thank our other sponsor for this, Keyline Productions, creating your custom needs. We really appreciate Rakita Kearney and what she does. Some of the services that they offer are custom merchandise, custom logos, flyers, and making your website better, website design. And their website is www.keylineproductions.com. Also, this is the final week that you can do this. Come to Buffalo Wild Wings, get a voucher for 6 free boneless wings on your next visit with a $5 donation to local charities as part of the Buffalo Wild Wings Foundation. All right, time to talk Del City football.
Yes, sir. And
first, let's go ahead and mention the obvious. Del City with another shutout. They won 67-0 versus Glenpool. And here are the up-to-date standings. So as you can see, there are 2 remaining undefeated teams in District 5A3, and they are going to play in a couple days. We can't wait to talk about that game, Del City and Coweta. But basically, whoever wins that game, and I'm not exaggerating this time. I kind of did last week with Carl Albert Guthrie. I'll talk more about that later. But in this case, there's no exaggeration. Whoever wins that game is district champs. Whoever falls short will be the 2 seed. All right, so joining me to talk about last week and this upcoming week is Del City head coach Robert Jones. All right, Coach, so another dominating victory. So let's hit some of the things that happened in the first half for sure, as that's where the game was definitely won. Rodney Fields scored a long touchdown on your first drive. And to me, that was kind of the indication that he's back.
Absolutely.
If he's not 100%, he's really close.
Absolutely. And I'm obviously I'm an Oklahoma State fan, and I went to Oklahoma State game versus Kansas, and I saw Ollie Gordon. They ran a slip screen, and he went for 76 yards.
Oh, there you go.
So I said, hey, let's try that out. We got a Oklahoma State running back commit, and we just wanted to see him go. We wanted to kind of start off and kind of like crush their soul a little bit. You go score the first play, it kind of does something to the defense. So, he's a special talent. I was on the Sports Animal earlier today just to be able to see what he's doing. He has 4 carries for 150 yards and 3 catches for 103 yards. When you can have 250 yards and 4 touchdowns on 7 touches, that just shows you what kind of athlete he is.
Yeah.
And not to say he's just even a better person. His work ethic is pretty good. So I'm excited to see him back. I'm excited to see what he could do the rest of the season.
And then you also gave Rickland Holmes a lot of carries.
Absolutely.
And used Rodney on defense. So let's talk about that a little bit, how Rickland has established himself as someone worth getting those handoffs. And also, on top of that, what led the decision to play Rodney on defense?
Well, Rodney played linebacker. Let's start off with Rickland.
Okay.
Rickland's a Division I football player.
Yeah.
Rickland is the number 1 linebacker in the 2026 class. We also moved him to defensive end, too, so that played into the decision to put Rodney at linebacker. But Rickland's 210 pounds. At the Oklahoma State camp this year, he ran a 4.51. So anytime you have a guy that's 210 pounds that grew up playing running back, that is a Division I athlete, regardless of how good Rodney is, you need to go back and forth. So I don't want to give Rodney all the carries and beat him up all year, especially going into the playoffs. I want Rodney fresh. And now you got Rodney who's 185 pounds. He's more of a slasher, even though he can be powerful. Now you put Rickland in who's 210 pounds. That's just tough for any defense to handle. And now you have to scheme against 2 different type of backs. So I really want to get that going, and that's a way to do it. and it tied into Rodney playing defense now. It's playoff time. I said that 2 weeks ago. Our playoffs started 2 weeks ago. Regardless of the opponent that we're playing, we treat it like playoffs. We can't focus on our opponent. We have to focus on how we got to get better and how we need to move progressing forward. So we knew we wanted to use Rodney at linebacker. He played linebacker at Southeast for 2 years, so we really wanted to incorporate him in that system. That allows us to move Rickland to defensive end, and that allows us to move Travis Kelly, who's here with us, play him a little bit at some 3 technique and use him as some inside backer and outside backer so we could be a little bit multiple. So moving Rodney to linebacker is going to really be special because you could kind of see his explosion and speed from a different outlet on defense. So I'm excited to see it work. And also Rickland at defensive end, that's a tough guy. You know, he brings a different kind of element with his speed, his athleticism. So that's going to really make it tough on defenses having to block both of those guys.
And he can kick. So
Absolutely.
Rickland's an all-around
jack
player.
of all trades.
Yeah. Okay, and then also on offense, I noticed early on you were throwing the ball to Shaden Green.
Yeah.
So it seems like there's a new receiver every week that you're targeting.
Yeah. Well, we're talented. You know, we're pretty blessed, but Del City's always been that way. Anybody that's been around in the Mid-Dale area or even in Oklahoma, those Del City has always had athletes. We just take what people give us. You know, I know everybody knows the big-name guys, LaDainian, Braylon Adama, Rodney, but we have a lot of guys, even this guy beside me, we'll talk about him here in a minute. We have a lot of different athletes that are just as good as those guys. They're just not getting the recognition from a media standpoint. So Shane's a big-time player. I think if at 30 other schools, he may be starting to running back at those schools. So I'm excited that he was selfless and be able to move to receiver. It's going to help him in recruiting. And then you get like a Wes Welker type kid who can catch crossing routes, out routes. That position fits his style and fits what his body type is.
Now, even though the score was impressive, there was still a bit of a struggle early on. Just something that something that you could definitely use to keep your team on their toes.
Yeah.
So there was some snapping issues, and I guess a couple of maybe big plays you gave up, even though that didn't lead to any points for them. And you called an early timeout. What can you say about that timeout and how that may have helped things or changed things?
Well, you know, Nick Saban calls it rat poison. You know, our kids are hearing all the media saying we're undefeated, we're going to play Carl Albert, all this stuff. Last time I checked, it's a lot of other teams that's good in 5A. We can't just assume that we're going to line up and play against Carl Albert. We can't listen to what everybody else is saying. And I think sometimes when you listen to what everybody else is saying, you think you could just show up with the DC on your helmet and people are going to lay down. So I felt like our kids were playing to Glenpool's level at that time. We need to step our standard up and we need to get after it. And we did. You know, we gave up a couple big plays on the run. I think we have set a standard defensively that if somebody gets 10 to 15 yards, everybody thinks we have a bad game or have a bad half. That's going to happen. It's football. They have coaches that scheme up all week. That's going to happen. But when it starts to happen consistently and repeatedly, that's when I'm not going to allow it. I'm going to call a timeout and get us going. I feel like we were the better team. We had the better talent. We shouldn't have those kind of plays going. So I was excited about that.
But at the end of the day.
Oh, one more thing on the snaps. Yeah. That's been almost a tradition here. Even when this guy was playing, it's like we always have bad snaps and we get false starts. So I preach it to our kids every day. And if they don't learn their lesson, they're going to learn their lesson in the playoffs like we did last year. So at some time you can lead the horse to the water, but you can't make them drink it. So those kids are going to have to grow up and start getting the penalties and get the snaps and get this thing corrected.
Yeah, he was motioning to our producer, Jacoby Brossi, who he's like the center of the broadcast when he's operating things. He's like the one who snaps the ball for us when we
Big
go
Jacoby.
on the air. That's right.
He's a big old left tackle. I wish he would have kept playing.
Yes, I'm sure he would have been tremendous. Okay, who's the two players we got with us?
We got Travis Kelly. He's been on the show before. His dad is the defensive coordinator for us, assistant head coach. Great player. He plays multiple positions. He plays outside linebacker. He plays a little bit of 3 technique for us. He plays some defensive end as well. He also plays inside linebacker. He's a jack of all trades as well on the defensive side of the ball. He's very multiple. He allows us to do a lot of things differently on the defensive side of the ball, so I'm excited about his future. He's really kind of blossomed at the right time. Then we got Jeremiah Mouse. He had 10 carries for 103 yards and 3 touchdowns. He's our, any other school, just like I said with Rickland, he's starting running back. So for him to be able to be a third-string running back to show up every day, our defense doesn't play as good on a weekly basis if it's not for him. He runs scout team running back. He runs hard. He's getting better every day. I really want to start working him into the mix with Rickland and Rodney playing running back in the playoffs. Playing linebacker and playing defense. It's going to be some time. Both of those guys, we're going to have to make some adjustments. They're going to be winning. So Jeremiah's going to be able to step into the fold. He's going to be able to get some carries. He's also big into track. He was ranked number 2 long jumper all year, and he's a wrestler as well. So he's just a great athlete overall. I really want to give a lot of kids chances. I don't want to just have one starter at one position. I think the more multiple you are as you get into the run into the playoffs, it's going to really help us with the depth, and it protects you if you do have injuries, unfortunately.
All right, very good. Charvis, so your team –
put your mic up to your mouth.
A little closer, yeah, thank you.
There you go.
Your team just pitched their 5th shutout on defense. What does that mean to you when you get more than half your games now? You're holding the other team to 0 points, and that includes in the fourth quarter when a lot of reserves are playing.
It means big time to me because it shows that even next year, when the reserves are playing, that we can still hold them to shutouts. And this year, that we shown teams that they can't score on us.
All right, very good. And then Jeremiah, same question for you, because I know you play a lot of safety. What does it mean to pitch a shutout?
He played more running back. He plays a little safety, but he plays more running back.
Yeah.
But,
it's just asserting our dominance on our other 5A teams.
Yeah. Well, you know what? If you're playing running back in the second half to spell Rodney, which is a big deal, obviously, because you want to keep the ground game going no matter what's the score. And you're keeping your team on the field, I would imagine, and so that helps the defense too right there. Let me ask you this. You mentioned scout team. What was that always? Did that come easy for you to want to show what you can do on scout team, even though you know you're playing behind a couple of really good running backs?
Yeah, definitely. I just want to help my team. We haven't won a state championship in a while, and I want to do it while I'm here.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think it's great what he said about how you help make the defense better.
Absolutely.
Have you had some big runs against the defense?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes.
Do you talk trash against them when you do?
Yeah, a little, especially our quarterback.
Okay. That's good. Jarvis, how would you grade the defensive line, though, so far? And especially, not just the shutouts, but obviously you look at just every play. How would you say the defensive line is held up going against, some teams like McAllister that were physical? That's the last team to score on you, or even a team like Sapulpa, which had some good-looking athletes. How would you grade the defensive line so far?
I would say we're like an A right now. Like, there's certain times where we're standing up too high or not always being physical, but the plays that we dominate them. So.
Yeah. Would your dad agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
He gave a better grade than me. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Well, Coach, has it been easy for you to loosen the reins calling defense?
Yeah. Jarvis has been with me for 6 years, and we kind of mesh and work together. So it's not like he's just calling the defense by himself. We're calling it together. We talk on the phone all hours of the night, all in the morning. It's a teamwork type of deal.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's calling it, but I'm right there in his hip pocket. I'm very experienced. Been coaching for 18 years, been calling the defense for 7 years. So anytime that you have a combination of you working with someone for 6 years and then the experience that I have as a coordinator, I'm just helping him out. And it's been really a special moment to see him flourish and him to come out. And, at the beginning of the season, he came out and said he wanted his goal to be 10 points per game. And I was like, man, come on, man. But he's been able to do it, and I'm proud of him. I'm proud of the defense, and it's just the standard that we have. It's a standard that we want to continue to have, and the physicality comes in practice. I can't stress enough. What the scout team is showing us doing practice is why we're successful. So it's a lot of unsung heroes that you don't get to see on this show that a lot of people don't talk about that are helping us be successful. Everybody talks about the Brethren Adamas, the Rodneys, the Ladanians, the Rickland Holmes, and the Viliami Lewises, those guys that show up on Friday night. But without people like Miles and that offensive line that goes every rep on scout team, without them we wouldn't be successful. So I want to make sure I give them their flowers. They deserve it. They make our team special.
All right, and Jarvis, I'm going to start with you. What do you think about Coweta? You obviously heard what I had to say. I'm sure that's been already told to you. If you win this game, you win the district, and you will be the 1 seed. If you lose this game, you'll be the 2nd seed. What are your thoughts about this game, and especially going to Coweta, where you lost a heartbreaking game at home against them last year?
I think it's a revenge game for one. It's personal since they took a picture on our DC, and really, if we just come out and be physical, all levels, we win this game.
Okay, and then Jeremiah, let me ask you, as a scout team offensive player, how do you feel like the defense has been preparing for this? And I guess you might have some insight into Coweta since you have to emulate some of their better players. So what do you think about this matchup?
I think the defense is going to do great, especially with the adjustments we made this week and me running the ball especially.
All right, Coach Coweta. I mean, this is your first game with a lot of stakes to it, so I know you have to be looking forward to that.
Yeah, I mean, I think, last year it was a game that we were playing for the district championship, that we were at our house, and they came over there and whooped our butts. They were physical. It was a bloodbath, and it was physical. Went into overtime. Unfortunately, we lost. When you get into these type of games where it's going to be physical like this, and it's going to be a lot of energy, it's going to be a lot of anxious kids and anxious coaches. You just got to stay calm and realize what got you there. You don't win a district championship the day of the game. You win a district championship in the fall. I mean, not in the fall, but in the off season, in the spring, in the summer. You win it during the week when you're practicing and studying film. So I feel like the preparation's already been there. So I'm real excited about seeing the development, what we've done to this point, if we can go out there and show it. This has been a long time coming. We've been talking about going to be in a district champion since last November. So to be able to get the opportunity to be in this moment, I'm just excited for these kids. We're 8-0. We're playing against a great team in a great environment. This is what football's about. I got this job. I wanted this job, and I'm thankful for it because I wanted to be in these type of games. I don't want to be in games where we're winning 67-0 with all due respect to Glenpool. I want to be in games that we have things on the line. It's a championship on the line, and I want to see where we're at as a program. You got to see where you're at as a program, so I'm excited to see it.
All right, I am too. Last week, Carl Albert had the big game with a lot at stake. This week, it's Del City. So Del City at Coweta this Friday. Cover starts at 6:30, and then the kickoff will be at 7. And, again, a lot on the line. So whoever wins this game is the district champs, so you're going to want to tune into that. Guys, thank you. Charvis, thank you. Mm-hmm. Jeremiah, we're about to talk to some of your fellow wrestlers, so look forward to that.
Great program. They're on the rise, too. Wrestling is on the rise. DC Wrestling is on the rise.
That's great there. We'll look forward to talking more about that. All right, coming up, Del City Wrestling on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Where sports is our middle name. We are the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Have you ever seen an insurance commercial and asked yourself, are they really telling me the truth? Well, guess what? They're not.
Somebody runs a red light and you think all of a sudden their insurance company's going to be all neighborly about it? Insurance companies aren't in the business of saving you money. They're in the business of keeping your money.
So remember, save our number in your phone so when tragedy strikes, call Rob and Will.
When it comes to your home, you need someone that you can trust to keep it safe and protected for you and your family.
Vesta Foundation Solutions is your local, family-owned company that has helped many homeowners fix and protect their homes.
Our engineered solutions can take care of all of your foundation repair, basement waterproofing, concrete leveling, and dirt crawl space repair needs.
We take pride in getting the job done right, and you'll always be protected with up to a 75-year warranty.
Contact us today for a free estimate.
Welcome back to the Middle Sports Report on the Oklahoma Sports Network. Okay, so now the winter sports are picking up here as we're in late October, and we're going to preview boys wrestling tonight, starting with Del City Wrestling, and I'm happy to be joined by Del City head coach Jamie Shaver. All right, Coach Shaver, this is your was it second year at Del City as head coach?
Yes, sir, second year.
And what were you doing before then?
I was actually working in mental health.
Okay. Well, I know wrestling for a lot of these wrestlers it's good for their mental health.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep. Okay, so how'd you get to Del City?
Actually, a 2012 alumni.
Okay.
I've grown up here, lived here my whole life.
Very good. So you had some connections with the high school?
Yeah, I wrestled from 2009 to 2012 for Coach James, and then was pretty involved with the program when Coach Ruth was here.
Okay. All right. Really good. And I noticed that the name Shaver, there's like 2 or 3 of those at Midwest City High School.
Not related.
No relation.
Yeah, no, but I am familiar with them. Yeah.
Okay, that's an incredible coincidence. Anyway, let's talk about this program. So, last year's your first year as the head coach. So, do you feel a lot more comfortable this time around so far?
Yeah. I'm really pretty familiar with the room. Kind of felt easy from the jump, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think the kids are a little bit more comfortable going into this season, though.
Yeah, and so talk about the year you had last year and what makes you optimistic for maybe a better year.
So we kind of had a run of bad results, if you will. We were 1-23 over the course of 2 years in dual competition. Last year we went 6-7, kind of with an asterisk on one of those. We were in Noble. It kind of came down to the last match. Our heavyweight won big time, up one in the duel. But unfortunately, earlier that night I got ejected. And so we wound up getting deducted 2 points. So we lost that one by 1. But I'd like to say that we had a winning record last year.
Yeah, so. Well, I've seen basketball coaches get ejected. I've never seen a wrestling coach. So
it does happen.
Yeah.
Not very often, but unfortunately it does happen.
All right, and so you brought some wrestlers with us.
Yes,
we're actually going to talk to 3 of them. We're going to have 2 on right now. Go ahead and talk about these 2 young men.
So to my right here is senior DeAndre Buttram. He transferred to us 2 years ago from Putnam City Original. I actually had the pleasure of officiating quite a few of his matches when he was at Putnam City, wrestling for Coach Walkup. So he's been a great addition to our program. His sophomore year had to sit out, but last year he was able to qualify for the state tournament, placed 3rd, and then this summer he actually became our first All-American at Nationals in Fargo, North Dakota since 1998. So our last All-American was Andy Andrade. And to my knowledge, she's actually the first Greco-Roman All-American for the Del City program. So pretty big deal there. And then to his right is junior, Evan Colbert. He was a state placer for us last year. I think that kind of left a bad taste in his mouth, and he's been fired up. He says he's going back down to 106 this year. So 6-pounders be on notice.
All right. So, Evan, we're going to start with you. So when did you first get into wrestling?
I got into wrestling when I was 4 going into 5. I was small for my age and everything, so they just stuck me on a wrestling mat, and I've just been with it since.
And so he says you're going to drop down to 106 from what was your previous class?
Last year?
Yes.
106 again.
Oh, okay. So is that why do you feel like that's an ideal weight for you? I mean, when you get down to that weight, do you lose muscle? Do you notice that, or is that where you can hold the ideal weight for you?
I don't really use muscle when I try to wrestle. I try to use more of my finesse when I'm going move to move. But I guess I can feel a little bit of a difference in the capacity of where I can use my strength, if I can scramble or if I can ride them on top. So I'm trying not to focus too much on losing all that weight, just getting down slowly and winning a state title this year.
All right. And do you already have a couple of opponents that you know of that you're thinking about? Nope. Never enters your head. No rival at the moment.
Nope.
Okay. Well, that's good. How's practice been for you so far? Do you feel like you're as good as you've ever been right now?
I feel like I've been practicing really well so far, but there's a lot of room for improvement. I need to work more on bottom, more on top, but I feel like there's not a 106 in the state that can hold me down right now.
And what would you say, you say you don't like using, you already kind of described your wrestling approach, but what would you say is your strengths as a wrestler?
Being able to find positioning, just making sure they can't score off of their shots. Whenever they go for a shot and I scramble down with them, I'm looking to score, and I'm looking to make sure they can't capitalize off of their opportunities.
All right, really good. All right, Evan, I thank you for coming on. We got one more wrestler, so if you would go ahead and switch headsets with him. And while that happens, we're going to go ahead and talk to DeAndre. DeAndre, great to have you on. I mean, a couple of amazing things I've heard about you that your coaches talked about. So first of all, what does it mean to be a Greco wrestler? Or was it Greco-Roman?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what does it mean to be a Greco-Roman wrestler?
So there's 3 types of wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
There's collegiate, freestyle, and then Greco-Roman. And Greco-Roman is upper body wrestling.
Okay, so you do need to use muscle then.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you went wrestling in the summer to Fargo, North Dakota. Was that that must have been a long trip?
It was, tiring trip.
Tiring, but you were ready to go, obviously. So what does it mean to become an All-American at this level? And what does it mean to you to accomplish that?
I mean, to me, it's something pretty important. I think it's great. I don't know, good to be up there at that level, wrestling with high-level kids.
Absolutely. Do you? It sounds like with all that accomplished, you definitely have your sights wrestling in college.
Yeah.
Any idea where that might be, or?
No, not at the moment.
Okay. And what's your wrestling weight?
I wrestle at 175.
175. Okay. And what was your record last year? Do you recall? Or do you even keep track of that?
I don't even remember.
But you did come really close to winning state.
Yeah.
Coach. Okay. And what do you feel like is a couple things you need to maybe get a little better at in order to make that leap?
Stamina, definitely.
Okay.
It's a big thing.
And how's that going in practice? You getting better at that?
Yeah, I'm staying more consistent.
Good deal. All right, Coach, who's this third wrestler we have with us?
The new guy that joined us is sophomore Dimitri Kaiser. Dimitri was also a state placer last year. I believe he was the 7th freshman to ever place for Del City High School. And he was also a freshman junior high state champ. So big ceiling for this guy. Also traveled out to Fargo this summer. Didn't necessarily get the result he wanted, but came away with a winning record overall. So,
all right. Well, good.
Future's bright.
Dimitri, welcome. So how long have you been wrestling?
I think 9-10 years.
9-10 years. And what do you like about it? What's your favorite thing about it?
I feel like I'm just better at this sport than any other sport.
Okay. And Coach said your record wasn't what you wanted it to be in North Dakota. What are a couple things you like to get better at?
My technique.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just really sloppy in a lot of places.
Okay. Well, how's practice been for you then in trying to improve on that?
I'm injured right now.
Oh, okay.
I have a fractured hip.
How long are you out?
For a few more weeks. I'll be back soon though.
Fractured hip, that sounds like one of the more difficult places for a wrestler to get injured at. How did it happen? Was it in practice or did it happen on the mat?
I was running at a cross-country meet.
Oh, okay.
And, I tore a muscle, and it kind of, pulled a piece of bone away.
All right. Well, Coach, any big events wrestling-wise that Del City fans and wrestling fans in general should know about that you guys have?
Absolutely. We actually open up our season, our dual season, December 12th at home. That duel is actually going to be in front of the student body. So getting all the kids out, getting them involved.
So it'll be on the afternoon?
Yes, sir. So
I
believe we're going to start around 1:30 p.m. at the high school. That's something that we used to do annually, so we're trying to bring that back.
I like that, yeah.
So that'll be December 12th. And then January 18th, we host Carl Albert. So they were last year's state championship team at individual state. We host them for our alumni night. So all of our alumni come back. I think last year we had around 55 to 60 alumni show up. Pretty prestigious history at Del City. And then on February the 1st, we host Midwest City in our rivalry match and senior night for our seniors.
Do you go to the big event at Carl Albert in early January?
Yes, sir. We'll be at Malcolm Wade. We go to the Chickasha event, and we're also still invited to the Geary Invitational, which is it's actually the oldest high school tournament in the nation.
All right. Very good. Well, Coach, thank you very much. I want to thank DeAndre, Evan, and Dimitri. You guys, hope you have a great year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Coming up next, Midwest City Bomber football talk right here on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Car mechanic shop.
Let's say we go to Suzuki.
Ready to go get some coffee?
Yeah, let's go. But it's a great space.
Yeah, and it's so close to downtown.
You want to go grab something to eat? Let's do it.
What time it due? Last Wednesday or last Friday?
You got it.
I think she was from
One,
Rose State.
2, 3.
Woohoo!
Congratulations, Rose State college graduates. Welcome back to the Middle Sports Report on the Oklahoma Sports Network. I'm sorry I didn't give you guys a better warning there. Anyway, it's great to be here at the Buffalo Wild Wings. It's football season at your neighborhood Buffalo Wild Wings, and with 64 TVs, beer, burgers, and wings, Buffalo Wild Wings is the best choice to watch the game. So bring the gang and join us this season in one of our 9 metro locations. Buffalo Wild Wings, your home for any game. Roar. This, by the way, should include the Thunder. They're going to start their season tonight, so come here for Thunder games and the World Series. We'll talk more about that here in a moment. Also, Keyline Productions, creating your custom needs, led by Rakita Kearney. Some of the services they provide are custom merchandise, custom logos, flyers, and websites. Their website is www.keylineproductions.com. Let's talk Midwest City Bomber football. Oh, one more thing. I forgot to support your local charities. You have 6 more days at this, where you can donate $5 to some local charities as part of the Buffalo Wild Wings Foundation, and then you'll get a voucher for a free set of boneless wings. So great deal there. Okay, now let's talk Midwest City Bomber football. Midwest City beat Ardmore 52-0 this past Thursday, and so the standings look like this. Midwest City and MacArthur are tied for 3rd. Both will have a shot at the top team, Elgin, so a lot of big games coming up. And Noble's 4th, and that's who Midwest City goes to. Of course, El Reno will get a tiebreaker over Noble, but Noble can play themselves into some position if they can take on the Bombers and play well. So that's something we'll be talking about here in a moment. But joining us right now is Bomber offensive coordinator Randon Lowe. All right, Coach Lowe, I need to show you this real quick. So we talked about the Rangers.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, you did see it because you got here early. I thank you for that. But it's interesting. We were talking about them. How we both agreed on this. How eventually they're going to let you down.
Yeah.
And I thought they were when I was paying attention to their score during your game against Ardmore, and somehow they're still around.
Well, I'm going to predict that they're going to be up 3-0 and lose 4 in a row.
Wouldn't surprise me if a week from now I want to burn this shirt.
No.
And maybe myself in it. But I'm going to enjoy it for now.
They're hot right now.
Yes,
they're playing well.
They're great on the road. We'll see how they do at home. They got the home field disadvantage. All right, let's talk about your team, though, here. Okay, so I asked Coach Cade this after last week's game against Lawton MacArthur. And so I'll ask you this. I know against, after El Reno that was a rough game for both
on both sides of the ball. And I know it's important to have all your guns, Kenny Colston back and all that. But what would you say has been better for your offense the last 2 games?
It's towards the end of the year, so all the reps that we've been putting in for all this amount of time, we're finally getting some timing down. We got young kids playing everywhere, especially at some skill positions like Link here's. He's playing Z, and there's throughout the year you just got to get a whole lot of reps in before you can really hit stride. That's why it's huge for programs and teams to have a bunch of seniors, because they have a bunch of reps,
Right.
and so the timing's there and all that stuff.
Well, your foundation, it seems like, is still the running game with Jalen Woody. Now, when Rogers got hurt, I guess that opened up some more opportunities for La Sierra Violet, and he's been running well the last 2 weeks. So what can you say about that running back tandem along with Mahmoud coming in?
Well, our running backs, we probably had the deepest running back room in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
We have 4 guys that can play anywhere. They're good football players. They love to play. They're tough kids, but I'm not sure that we run the football more now than we've been throwing it, but I'm not sure that's what we do best. It's we literally line up and we take what the defense gives us.
And you're throwing in more receivers right now. We'll talk to one of them in a moment, Lincoln King, but also we're seeing Jarvis Nash and a guy who I need to put on my spotter boards, number 15. I already forgot his name, but we weren't. Is that right? Or maybe I have the wrong number there. But there was a young guy.
Y'all don't know him.
Talking about Darwan.
No.
Yeah.
Darwan.
Davis is 11, isn't he?
No, he's my father.
He's 15?
Hudson's
Okay.
11.
Yeah, Hudson's 11. Okay. Yeah. Davis is getting in it. And see, those 2 guys are sophomores. Link's a sophomore. And so now our sophomores have finally had enough summer work, and now we're getting into the, playoff time where these sophomores have got to, they finally have enough reps to get in and play.
Yeah, so now you're getting more guys, and Jarvis Nash has been making some plays for you. In the El Reno game, it looked it was not a great night for the receivers, and you were adjusting with being without Sissons. And now after 2 more weeks, though, things are looking a lot better for you guys. So I know that was a big injury, losing Devin. But
anytime you lose a kid in high school football, it's not because the guy that is below him is a lesser player.
Right.
It's because of all the experience and reps that the guys had.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then the O-line, I know at times there was maybe some issues with penalties, but it seems like, again, they've been doing their job. They've been protecting Colston really well, and also they've been opening up some holes in the running game. So what can you say about the offensive line?
Oh, I love our offensive line. All 5 of those guys play hard. Their backups are good football players too. The thing about our offensive line is they really love to play. Like I don't know if anybody on their football team likes football more than Jacob Brunson. Brunson, he plays his butt off every time he's out there. And a lot of times when people that don't really know what we're doing looks out there and says, they didn't block this well or that well, it's probably because we were in the wrong play or ran against the wrong look or something like that. Because if we get, things right, they block everybody.
Absolutely. And I did notice that besides the starters, Daniel Sampson got in some. How does he rotate in? What's the idea there? Because I know you got some O-linemen who are playing defense too.
That's Coach Dana handles that stuff.
Right.
I'm not going to say I don't care because I care, but that's on Coach Dana, and I don't know his rotation. I don't care. Really, we've been together a long time, so whatever he does, we just roll with it. But I think his rotation is basically because Jones is playing more defense now, and when Jones needs a break, then Sampson to go.
And that's both Jones, I think. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about these players. So we got starting quarterback Kenny Colston, and then the new Z receiver, but also playing quarterback Lincoln King. Lincoln, if you could move your microphone a little closer to your mouth.
So that's what I'm talking about, sophomores.
Yes.
They need more reps.
Well, the best thing about sophomores is they become juniors.
That's right. Yeah. That's exactly right.
Kenny, we'll start with you here. So you had to miss a couple of games early in the season, but I thought you came back and played really well the last 2 games. How did you use the time off to help prepare you for the next 2 games and elevating your play?
Really just watch more film and seeing what I can correct and seeing what the team does. And just really being in the film room and just taking that time to rest and putting my mind to it, really.
So you've had to develop some new chemistry with new receivers that weren't playing a lot earlier in the year. How's that gone?
It's going great. I mean, throwing touchdowns to Jarvis and Lincoln. I mean,
yeah, that's right. Those 2 for sure. All right, and then Lincoln, what was the experience like playing quarterback? I mean, that you see it up close.
It was kind of new for me for like the speed wise, but I really trusted the O-line the whole time. And they helped me out through the whole process.
Okay, so this is one of the things interesting about you, Lincoln, is you were involved in 2 interesting calls in both the Duncan game and the Ardmore game, when Coach Hall decides to go for it on 4th and long. So it's near the 40, and it's definitely too far to kick a field goal. And I guess Coach Hall felt too close to punt, and he liked the way his defense was playing. And so he decides to go for it on 4th and long. And, I mean, that's a tall order. You're not supposed to convert a 4th and 20. But you've been a part of 2 conversions. Let's talk about the first one against Duncan. What was that like? Because that's your first series as quarterback, and you throw a touchdown bomb on 4th and long at Duncan to give your team the first score. What can you say about that play and that call?
I really just trust the O-line in that process, but then I just threw it to my wide receiver because I knew he was going to be wide open the whole time. And it's just through practice and all that, through the reps.
All right, and then what's interesting is then the next one, and Coach Lowe, was the idea even to get a first down. You threw it underneath to Lincoln King. Kenny Colston did. And then but Lincoln King made a great run after that to get the first down and score a touchdown.
Well, we lined up and we went no count, snaps. Didn't snap it, see what they're doing. They're playing a deep cover 4 shell with the safety robber, so you really don't have much option. You got to run the football or throw a middle screen. Yep. And I'll be 100% honest with you. I looked out there and started laughing and threw it to Link. It worked out.
Lincoln, were you getting reps at wide receiver in the spring, or when did you start to get reps at wide receiver?
Definitely early season. Just right in the early season I started to switch because he seen my athleticism and trusted me.
No, don't say switch. Say play both.
Yeah, you're
playing both.
You're still
the switch.
You're still a quarterback. You still played quarterback the last 2 games. You just came in late, and then you're playing receiver early on. But you've been making plays at receiver. I mean, what do you think? I think that's where I see how quick you are. But what do you think about how you've done the last 2 games?
I've done all right, but there's still a little bit of cleanup, so that's where practice comes in.
And did playing quarterback maybe help prepare you a little bit for that?
Yes, because I know where to be at on the field at all times and how to read the coverage.
All right, and Kenny, I've noticed you've made some more plays with your legs. How do you feel more confident as a runner, or was that even by, I should ask Coach Lowe as a follow-up, was that even by design or just you improvising there? So I'll start with you, Kenny.
I ain't going to complain if I get to pull the ball and run a little bit. But
hey, as long as you get the first down and get to the sideline, those 2 things right there, and that's a great play.
Well, part of it, too, is, Link now has game experience. So, at Midwest City over the last 2 years since I've been here, Kenny started every game at X as a junior, and then playing quarterback as a sophomore. He's starting every game as Z as a sophomore. And then so you put your athletes on the field. So when now that Link's ready to play a little bit more, then we can take more chances with our starter because Kenny can run.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to do it early. And now it's playoff time, and now it's time to shoot all the bullets.
That's right. Kenny, how do you feel about how you're throwing the ball and handling yourself in the pocket now compared to earlier in the season?
It was definitely a big improvement now. Because now I got a deeper trust in my O-line more than the start of the season. But now it's just I feel way more comfortable in that.
All right, and I've already asked Coach Lowe and Kenny this, but I'm going to ask you this, Lincoln. What is your second favorite sport?
I have to give it to baseball because I really love baseball.
You're going to play baseball? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I was saying, I don't know when the last time Midwest City started a left-handed quarterback, so I think it's cool.
2 weeks ago.
Right. Before then, but thank you, Coach, for catching my flawed use of the English language there. But before then, anyway. So on baseball, what's your position?
Left field, and I might start pitching a little bit this year.
Good. Well, I know they'll need some good left-handed pitching and left-handed hitting. So,
yes, sir.
I'm glad to see you provide that. All right, guys. Noble. They won big against Altus. They've had some ugly losses as well, but I know you're going to prepare for them being at their best. So what does that mean, Noble at their best, Coach?
Noble's a good football team.
Yeah.
They really are. They've had some unfortunate circumstances in some games, but they come out, they play hard. They defensively, they line up in some different looks, and they give you some problems. Offensively, they're really good. Their quarterback can play.
Yeah.
I mean, throughout the year, watching other teams line up against Noble, watching other defenses watch Noble play offense, their quarterback's a good player. We got to play well to win the game, and it's kind of fitting because now we're getting ready to make a playoff run.
Yes, and you still got some work to do, but you guys can still control your own destiny for winning the district there. Kenny, what about you? What do you think about Noble? And also, when I don't know if you did any of this last year, but when you're out in the field and Trevor Hand is, do you guys talk to each other at all?
We're really just after the game. You kind of just locked in inside of the game. But Noble is definitely a team you can't just sleep on. Like you said, they're a great team. And if we just go in that game all nonchalant, we lose.
So won't be any trash talking when you're under center and he's lined up near the nose of the center as a tackle, defensive tackle. Then. Not from you, though.
No.
Not from you. Okay, he might say. Trevor Hand, by the way, played for Midwest City as a freshman and sophomore, so and he's a senior now, so he and Kenny go back a ways. Lincoln, what about you? What do you think about Noble?
I think they're a great team, but anybody lining up against us, we do our job, we're going to beat them.
All right. I look forward to seeing you get a couple of catches and then getting some what they call yak. Yards after the catch. You seem to be getting really good at that. All right. Coach, any last thoughts there?
Come on, man. He's going to be hard to put up with tomorrow. We're going to have to bring him back down to earth.
Am I boosting his ego too much?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. I'm sorry. I don't want to ever make the job harder for the coaches. All right, Lincoln, I take back everything I said. Okay. All right. Anyway, guys, the game is Friday at Noble. Midwest City last went to Noble in 2020, so it's been a while, but we look forward to bringing you that game. That's a really fun stadium to call a game at, and they'll have a good crowd there, so it'll be another tough road challenge for the Bombers. Kickoff will be at 7. The coverage will start at 6:30, so please be sure to join Tom Cropper and myself for that game. Midwest City needs to win that game to put themselves in position to play for district title the following week against Elgin. All right, guys, thank you very much. And when we come back, we're going to talk Midwest City Wrestling. You're watching the Mid-Dale Sports Report on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Where sports is our middle name. We are the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Experience the best wash in town at Tommy's Express. You'll love our open and bright tunnels, easy loading flat belt conveyor, unlimited membership, and free vacuums and mat washers. Experience the difference and visit Tommy's Express today.
Red Plains Plumbing has been offering reliable commercial and residential services to the OKC metro area for over a decade. From new construction and remodeling to residential repair, they can handle jobs of all sizes. When you need a trusted name in plumbing, it's Red Plains Plumbing. Family owned and operated. Phone 405-769-1922. That's 405-769-1922.
College is more than just going to class. College is a journey. It's meeting new people and making new friendships that will last a lifetime. It's learning from professors who care about you and your success. And finding out it can be really fun and rewarding. It's discovering that thing you want to do for the rest of your life. Cameron University is all about helping you grow and succeed. Because your success is our success.
All right, welcome back to the Middle Sports Report on the Oklahoma Sports Network. Time to continue talking boys wrestling here, and we're going to talk Midwest City Wrestling with their coach, R.J. Walker. Is that how we go by R.J., right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because you're a junior, right?
Yeah.
And both you and your dad are at Midwest City.
Yeah.
So, all right, Coach. So I know you were a student at Midwest City High School, but how did you get to become the wrestling coach?
So it kind of happened, I guess, by chance. I was in college, wrestled in college, and I was a college student who needed a job.
Yeah.
And I graduate, and the previous head coach before me, Shane Kerr, he texted me. He said, "Hey, have you ever thought about coaching?" And at the time I did, but I never thought about teaching and coaching.
Yeah.
And so I was like, "Yeah, I have." And so he said, "Well, we want to have a sit-down talk." So me and Coach Kerr, we talked, and I've known Coach Kerr since I was fifth grade, and so it's a good connection there. And kind of just asked me. We had a few questions, and then I applied for a job and sat down with the principals and talked to them, and now I started out as the assistant coach, and now I'm here.
So you're the assistant coach for 1 year. And did you have I heard you had other career aspirations, so this is kind of an interesting detour for you, right?
Yeah. So my college degree was criminal justice administration.
Yep.
And with that, so I applied for the Secret Service, United States Secret Service.
Oh, wow.
And so it was interesting.
Just get a couple waters to the table so no one mind that. But go ahead, Coach. Keep going.
It was interesting just having, doing that, and then I, spent a lot of time in prayer and reflecting, and then kind of felt that God was pulling me more in the direction of this is where I need to be instead of that. So,
well, you must have really loved it as an assistant coach to then want to take the head job. So, did you take the coaching right away?
The head job?
No, just the coaching. When you first did as an assistant coach, did you start to like it right away?
Yeah. I always knew that I wanted to coach in some capacity, but I was like, it might not happen. But my dad, he's been coaching for 28, 29 years, and so I've always been around it. My dad coached my brother and I when we were younger. My dad got to Midwest City my senior year, so he got to coach me my senior year in wrestling, so that was pretty cool. And then I got around, some of the kids, and it was a little weird at first because most of the kids I have known since they were in kindergarten, first grade, second grade. But then I just fell in love with it. It felt like just being right back at home. So,
all right, and that's the other interesting thing is your dad's assistant coach for football. But then he's assistant coach with wrestling, correct? So he actually works for you. Is that is that ever weird?
No, it's kind of a running joke. We actually hung out this weekend for my mom's birthday, and we were talking to somebody, and my mom said, well, she pointed to my dad. She said, well, he actually works for him. And I was like, yeah, my dad works for me. So it's kind of funny, a fun joke to mess around with.
Yeah, I'm sure your dad wants to make sure it's only a joke.
Yeah.
All right. Talk about how your first season as head coach went last year, and then what are your expectations for this year?
Right. So last year, my first year as an assistant, it was kind of shaky a little bit. I mean, we had, very few guys. We had about 18, 20 guys in the room on a good day. And then last year as an assistant, I kind of went in with expectations of I just want to get the numbers up. That was my thing, and I think last year we got up to 42 guys in the room. And so big jump from my first year. And my philosophy was I just got to get them to buy in.
Yeah.
I just got to if I can get the kids to buy in, then, everything else will follow. We lost, I think we lost our first 3 duels, and they were pretty close. And so that was, with the exception of the first one at El Reno. We had the other 2 were pretty close, and then we rattled off 6 wins in a row. And you could sense the morale boost in the locker room and practice, and guys were just having more fun with each other, it seemed like. And so it looked like it was more of I'm doing this because I'm having fun with it instead of I need to do it.
Yeah, all right. And talk about some of the successful wrestlers you had this past year that you have coming back. And we'll talk to a couple of them here in a moment.
Right. So I had some guys that came up big for me. Usually it was if we had a duel, we'd go down, in our first 7 weights. We had a bunch of new kids, but all those new kids are back this year. So that's a big plus. They were all first-year kids last year. Now they're all back. But my guys, I call them my consistent guys, the guys I knew I could rely on, those are the second half of the weights. And you'll talk to 2 of them. Like I said, you'll talk to 2 of them here in a little bit. Colton Williams and Aiden Brown. Those are guys that I knew that they are going to get me bonus points. If I need bonus points in a duel for us to possibly win, those are guys going to get me bonus points. You got a guy, Gabe Young, who's hard worker. He's coming back a lot better and ready to just get on the mat. I got a guy, Aiden Tollison, who was hurt last year, didn't get to wrestle, and he's coming back this year. We're glad to have him back, and just ready to get after it. And our success, it came, and then we were 6A last year, and kind of hit a roadblock at regionals, just because we didn't know if we'd be 5A, 6A. We wrestled a 5A schedule, get to regional 6A, and we got hit in the mouth. We got hit in the mouth a little bit. Didn't qualify anybody. We had 2 guys, 1 match away from qualifying. And they didn't get there. They're both graduated. But this year it looks like from preseason and then now we're in practice, I can tell that these guys that are coming back just want it more.
All right. Well, let's talk to these 2 wrestlers you brought with you. So Aiden Brown, I know. And who was the other one?
This is Colton Williams. So both of these guys right here are they're 2 of my team captains.
Very good. All right, Aiden. Are you able to think much about wrestling while you're still in football season?
With us in wrestling, we have an open room every Sunday night, so I get to come in once a week and get a little wrestling work in, but most of my focus is still on football with the season going on and the playoffs coming up.
Okay. Nobody, if you guys can move your microphone a little closer there, appreciate it. All right, and let's see, Colton, what's your normal wrestling weight?
I usually wrestle about 165 to 175.
Okay. And talk about the year you had last year.
Last year, it was actually a huge hop from the year before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my wins doubled. I had a better win-loss record. It was mainly because of him.
Okay.
For the longest time, I felt like in that room it was kind of dead. No one really felt like winning. But once he came in, it boosted morale in there, and we all felt really, really good. So last year, especially me, I felt really good.
Well, he's been through that before just recently, and he wrestled in college. Was that at OCU?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
OCU. Okay, go Stars.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, I went to Oklahoma Christian, but we won't talk about that. All right, Colton, so how has practice been like so far this year?
It's been amazing, actually. Like he said, a lot of the returning guys they were pretty bad last year. But this year, they come back, and now we got dudes that are whooping on last year, like the good guys.
Yeah.
Like they're giving them looks, and we were really impressed today, especially. A lot of our dudes were in there scrapping it up. So practice is going really, really well.
So very competitive right now. You're getting challenged.
Very much so.
That's very good. All right, Aiden, what was your weight that you wrestled at?
Last year I wrestled at 150.
150. Now, do you have to work to get to that weight from coming from football?
I'm a little bigger than I was last year.
A lot bigger.
Yeah.
So you'll have to put in a bit of a cut then.
Nah, 150's done.
Okay. You're gonna move up. You're gonna move up in weight.
I'm gonna go up for a
while. Talk about the year you had in wrestling.
Wrestling, I think I also had a bigger jump from last year with another credit to our coach with that. He taught us a lot in the room. He brought it felt like a whole new room at practice, and I think it really showed on the mat. With my freshman year, it was rough.
Right.
But, last year, I felt like I was more confident coming out on the mat. Like I could really come out and win and do the moves that I wanted, and I was a lot more confident this year.
All right. Well, Aiden, I got another question for you. Are you, by chance, related to Jacoby Johnson?
Yeah, Jacoby. That's my big brother.
Okay, so I found this out from the person who would know the most, your mother.
Yeah.
She talked to me about it when I saw her at a Walmart nearby. She's one of the sweetest women, so I can see why you're a nice guy, and Jacoby was too. I love coaching him. So interesting. You went for wrestling as your winter sport. He went for basketball.
Yeah.
But I think that's pretty cool. It's been a while since he's been to Midwest City, so it's not like anyone here now went to high school with him. I don't think. Maybe the seniors did. So, but Coach, anyone else from football you're looking forward to bringing in?
Yeah. So we have one of our heavyweights, Junior Ambrosio. He'll be coming in for football. Let's see. I said Aiden Tollison. He'll be coming in from football.
And he goes by JT, right?
Yeah, he goes by JT. And
familiar with him.
Yeah. So those guys, Hakeem Alawuli, he'll be coming in from football.
Those some big guys there.
Yeah. So it'll be good to have those guys all in the room. And these two guys right here next to me, like I said, they're team captains. And Aiden, he's a kid that he's juggling both right now. He's juggling football, and then he comes to open room on Sundays. He'll wrestle, come in the room and wrestle live. Get a drill in when he can, and then Colton right here. He's a big vocal leader. It's kind of one of those things where I trust him that if I need a decision made, I'll go to him and he'll go to the guys, and so. Just good having them here, and then getting those football guys out will be good for us.
All right, need that leadership. One last question: any big events we should be aware of coming up for you?
Yeah. So we have our first duel is it's at home, or our first home duel, and it's our first duel is against El Reno, November 28th. That's a Thursday. That'll be our Little League night, and then we have our alumni night on December 12th, I believe, and that's against McLeod. And the good thing about our alumni night is we're doing the first annual or the first inaugural Midwest City Wrestling Hall of Fame class, and just guys that have contributed to Midwest City wrestling, guys that I grew up hearing about, and just kind of guys whose names are on the wall. They kind of mean something, and something that These guys know that they wear that B or that M on their chest. They know, Midwest City Wrestling is a legacy, and I tell them, I don't want them to so much live in what's happened, but I want them to kind of create their own story. So those two are big, and then, of course, at the end of the season, we got regionals. It's February, I think, 17th and 18th, and then the state tournament is February 22nd through the 24th. And these guys right here, and then there's more guys. I got a feeling they keep working the way they do. They'll be getting on that podium at the state tournament.
All right. Well, we hope to keep up with you guys in the winter if we can keep this show going. That's the hope. We're not able to officially announce anything yet, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
All right, Coach Walker, Aiden, Colton, thank you very much for coming on with us. And when we come back, we're going to have Carl Albert football for you right here on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Have you ever seen an insurance commercial and ask yourself, are they really telling me the truth? Well, guess what? They're not.
Somebody runs a red light and you think all of a sudden their insurance company's going to be all neighborly about it?
Insurance companies aren't in the business of saving you money. They're in the business of keeping your money.
So remember, save our number in your phone so when tragedy strikes,
call Rob and Will.
When it comes to your home, you need someone that you can trust to keep it safe and protected for you and your family.
Vesta Foundation Solutions is your local, family-owned company that has helped many homeowners fix and protect their homes.
Our engineered solutions can take care of all of your foundation repair, basement waterproofing, concrete leveling, and dirt crawl space repair needs.
We take pride in getting the job done right, and you'll always be protected with up to a 75-year warranty.
Contact us today for a free estimate.
All right, welcome back to the Mid-Dale Sports Report on the Oklahoma Sports Network here at Buffalo Wild Wings. It's football season at your neighborhood Buffalo Wild Wings, and with 64 TVs, beer, burgers, and wings, Buffalo Wild Wings is the best choice to watch the game. So bring the gang and join us this season at one of our 9 metro locations. Buffalo Wild Wings, your home for game day. Roar. And, of course, the Thunder are playing. We got the Rangers in the World Series. Go Rangers. And we also want to thank Keyline Productions, creating your custom needs, led by Rakita Kearney. Some of the services they provide are custom merchandise, custom logos, flyers, and website designs. Their website is www.keylineproductions.com. Let's get right to it with Carl Albert football. Let's look at the standings. So as you can tell, Carl Albert won, and thanks to their victory against Guthrie, they are 5-0 in district play. They only have one more district game because they're off this week, and they have the tiebreaker over Guthrie. But, of course, as Coach Dunn reminded me after our broadcast last week, I spoke too soon. They have not officially clinched the district yet. We'll talk about that here in a moment. Let's go ahead and bring in Coach Mike Dunn. All right, Coach, so last week I asked you if you were sick of all those blowouts, and I'm guessing you look forward to having another one after that was a bit of a barn burner against Guthrie there.
Yeah.
So what was it like to be in a close game after all those weeks of blowouts? You didn't have much drama to deal with. So.
Well, after the game, I told these guys that it's exactly what we needed. We needed to be in a game like that. I don't know how good I'd have felt going into the playoffs and going into this last game against Piedmont without having any challenges or tests. And we've told our guys all along that was going to be that kind of game. I know there's a lot of people out there telling us what it was going to be and how bad we were going to beat them and all that. And never bought into that for 1 second. Guthrie's a really good ball team, and they're really well coached. They're tough, and playing over there, it's a tough place to play. I mean, it's a big time atmosphere. I love it for our guys, and even for Guthrie to get to play in a game like that in front of the entire state and number 1 game in the state, and then it come down to what it came down to, and it was great atmosphere. Obviously, it went in our favor at the end, and that makes it even more fun, but it was a really good night for high school football and for Carl Albert.
Well, it's one of those games that it reminds you what you see in the OU Texas game, where you have one side will be loud, and Carl Albert fans showed up in droves.
Yeah.
And then the Guthrie side also will be plenty loud. Yeah. Let's talk about Guthrie real quick. So, if you think about it from last year, I think you beat them like 30-0 at home, and then they did win a playoff game at Elgin, so that's really impressive. But then they lose to Grove, and you guys, you handle Grove well. And I would argue that you guys are better than last year in many ways. As we saw when you bring in guys like Kevin Esperi and then James as well, and amongst other things. But Guthrie, they've made quite a leap from last year to this year. What goes into something like that in general, and then what can you say about how much better Guthrie is this year compared to last year?
Well, their coaches coach too over there. I mean, they've got a really good coaching staff, and they've got a mentality, a winning mentality. They've got a good culture over there, and Coach Beebe, I respect him as much as anybody out there in the state. And you can tell that they buy into what their coaches preach, and they're just a really solid ball club. And they had a lot coming back from that team, just like we did. We had a lot coming back from last year. We knew that they were going to be really, really good. Last year they were really, really good. We just kind of caught fire there, and some things snowballed on them early. But like I said, we never bought into that or thought that was going to be the case. That group of kids, that defense they've had, I imagine 7 or 8 of them started last year as well, and experience always helps. And then another year in off season, another year in the weight room always helps. And just like our guys, they buy into all those things. They buy into the work and they buy into the process, and I think that was a product of all of that is what you saw on Thursday night between two really good football teams.
And they were, they had you shut out until the end of the first half. So obviously that says a lot about their defense. What was some things you had to do offensively to break through? And with that long touchdown to James, I noticed when I watched the back that their safety moved over on the other side. Is that basically what opened things up for Marcus on that play?
Yeah, I mean, they obviously had a bust in coverage there. I think they tried to go double up Trene over on that solo side, and I don't think they got it communicated. I don't know if they were supposed to try to lock up Marcus with an outside backer there. I'm not sure, but yeah, I think Coach Beebe said something after the game about he said I take that one, which would be the same thing our guys would say too if that in that same situation. So I think that's what happened. But we just talked to our guys about keep chopping wood, stay consistent. We got to stay on blocks a little bit longer. We can't have drive killers and early on there were some things that were uncharacteristic of us and some mistakes that we made that really kind of slowed us down, and obviously the block punt in the first half was a big momentum shift for them, and their first score was from the 4-yard line, and just got them going, and I told our guys at halftime we just took a really big punch right there, and we're down 7. You just got to keep going, got to keep fighting, and the biggest thing that we had to do was go out and get a stop on that very first drive, and we got 3 and out. I think defensively we went 3 and out, and then Caden blocked the punt, and so that really spurred us in the end.
And then on the other side, defense, I mean, obviously they have a good running game. Their quarterback is a tough runner, and the number 4, I think, is Harper. Really good, obviously.
Yeah.
Their third touchdown came off a kick return. It's like half of it was kick return, and then half of it they drove down the field. They got good field position around midfield. So what can you say about how your defense, especially after it was 14-0, stepped up?
Right, yeah, defense played really, really well. We had, I think we talked about it, and there's some things that we know we got to fix. I want to say we gave up 98 yards after contact. So we went and did the math on that and looked at how many yards did Guthrie make after contact, which to me that's a weight room thing. We need to make sure that we're staying consistent in the weight room. That's a desire thing. That's a passion thing, and that's something that I know our guys, when we put that information in their face, we know that that's something that they're going to work on. That's why we do that, and we talked about this week being a good week to work on that. But really proud of our defense. I think total yardage we gave up about 210 yards, and the one they got the short field obviously on the block punt, and then to hold them to a couple scores, and we really made them earn it. That's the biggest thing, and they did the same thing to us. So there's 2 really good teams, 2 good defenses, and 2 good offenses going at it, and I was just really proud of our guys for their overall effort and the way that they kept fighting. It was very gutsy by all of our guys, and that's exactly what you want to see from a veteran team, a mature team.
All right, so you brought a couple players with you. This is exciting. Tanner Norman is back. So, yeah. Tanner, welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
And then, did I hear correctly, this is Caden Davis?
Yep.
Sir.
All right, Caden, I've been looking forward to talking with you because you're an interesting player. You were one of the leaders in the state in sacks a year ago as a sophomore. Is that right?
Sir.
And then you moved to middle linebacker. What do you talk about that transition?
It wasn't too crazy. I've been playing jackbacker in our 3-4 thing, so
yeah,
it wasn't as much of a transition. It was a transition me and Coach Duns talked about for a while. That was going to happen sooner or later, and it hasn't been too hard. It's been pretty seamless with Harless and James. They've both been helping me out, and I've been helping them. It's been working out pretty well.
All right, and Tanner, Guthrie was a different level for you guys, so I'm sure you're glad you have that game and you're able to win it. What made the game more challenging that game than the other games you had in district where you win easily?
Guthrie just plays really hard, and they run a lot of slants. They like to slant to the field, and they move their D-line around a lot, so we got a bunch of different looks we're not used to, and we really just had to stick to our rules more often, which makes it trickier in the end.
Now you're a tackle, right?
Yes, sir.
So so you didn't have to maybe deal with them as much, but I really like when you have a former coach like Coach Goff doing the color commentary, he points out things that you don't always see pointed out, like their nose guard. He said it was one of the quickest nose guards he's ever seen.
And did you see that? Did you see and were there similar players? It looked like they had good team speed across the board.
Yeah, they were definitely the fastest D-line we've played this year, and they actually all move around, so I had to block him a few times. Yeah. They like to switch their interior guys with their edge guys to run a couple stunts, so we all had to block all of them at times.
And Caden, you mentioned Easton and Marcus. I mean, I think that's the unit on defense that stands out because those are big names there. What's made this linebacking core so successful and how it works together?
I mean, the guys up front, Emerson and AJ, Brock, Steven, all of our guys up front, they do a really good job of keeping the linemen off of us and making it pretty easy reads for us to go make the plays.
And Coach, I mean, again, those are some big names on the linebacking core there. And I imagine they are leading the team in tackles.
Yeah, I think Caden is leading the team in tackles. I'd have to go back and look at our stats. But yeah, I would say Caden and Easton are probably right there with each other. I think Caden led the team in tackles last year. I think from the defensive end position. I believe. I can't remember, but yeah, they're definitely those three guys are definitely going to be up there, which is what you want. You want your linebackers to be your leading tacklers because that means your defensive line is keeping them clean and the ball's not getting to the third level. So you want those guys to make a bunch of plays, and that's exactly how we design our defense. So and we've got the three right guys there, three guys that work really well off each other, and our Mike Backer, we really want that to be our guy, our football player, and Caden's a guy that I've told people all the time, I don't care if he played corner, he'd be successful because he plays so hard. And so that's the kind of guy that we want there at that position, and he fits that position really well. Just like Easton, he fits the Sam position very well. He's a guy that can do a lot of multiple things. He gets lined up. He knows a lot of different coverages. He knows his job. And then Marcus is kind of your thumper there on the backside, and a guy that you can be real multiple with.
And Caden, a couple questions for you, and I'll get to back to Tanner here. You spell Exum at running back. What's that like? Is it a different mentality for you? And are you looking forward to maybe getting some more attempts next year?
Yeah, I mean, X does a really good job, and I just come in like a relief pitcher almost whenever he needs one or two. So I mean, next year I'm sure that'll be talked about future, but I mean, I'm just worried about getting through this season.
Well, with all these D1 players on the team, you're one of the guys I'm like, okay, I wonder what he will be doing in college, because to be a successful DN and then Mike linebacker, and then Coach Dunn talked to me about as a freshman, he blocked a punt. He told you guys he was going to do it too. I mean, that just screams football player. What are you looking at as far as have you gotten any college interest, or have you even been thinking about that?
I mean, I want to play Division I football. I have an offer from a JUCO in New Mexico that I got this summer, but I want to play D1 football. Yes, sir.
All right. I wouldn't be surprised if some more things open up for you for sure. All right, Coach, let's talk about the fourth down play. Now, a lot of Marcus's success as a receiver has been lining up a receiver, and so I don't think you've thrown him the ball a ton when he lines up at tight end, and that made it a perfect play, I would think, maybe, because I don't know how much Guthrie was even thinking about him. So what can you say about the thought behind that fourth down play call that won you the game?
Well, we when it got to fourth down there, we were kind of talking on the headset. We had one timeout left. I saved the one timeout, so I just said, hey, here's what we're doing. We're gonna take it all the way down, because regardless, whether that's our last play on offense or if they get a stop, we're not going to need it defensively. You can't stop the clock enough to get the ball back. So I said we're going to take it down to 51 seconds, and then we're going to call our best play. And the first play that Coach Johnson mentioned was that play. And that's a play that we've been working since week 1, week 2 of football season. So we've had that in our back pocket for a long while. Just haven't had to really use it. And where we were at on the field, it just set up perfect. It was definitely a perfect play call, and our guys, at the end of the day, we have been running that for a long time in practice. We never ran it in a game, and our guys went out and they executed it perfect. I mean, everything we needed to do, we kept Kevin clean. It was a very easy throw for him to make there, and Marcus did a really good job of selling it for a second or two, and then took off, and one of their guys, the guy I think that was on him, man, saw him late and tried to grab him and just couldn't catch up. By that time, Marcus was already almost full speed and just kind of outran him there. But big-time job by our offense of executing that. It was a big-time throw. It was a big-time catch. But, these guys up front were the ones that kept him clean and made sure that he had no pressure in his face. And Kevin did a great job of making a great throw, and Marcus made a great catch.
Tanner, what was your view of that play?
Oh, I thought it was going to work just because there's a bunch of momentum going to that right side. And one thing with Guthrie is they like to pursue really well. So I knew when we sprint out to that right side and Marcus was going to slip out the backside, he'd come open. So
now, are you on right or left side?
I'm on the left side.
Okay, so you had to block the side he was throwing to.
Yes, sir.
What was that? Was there any pressure coming that you had to deal with?
No, so my guy actually ended up backing off, and then so I just helped my inside gap, help Perkins next to me, and I actually got to watch most of the play because I didn't have any pressure coming off that edge.
Well, that had to be quite a thrill. Just for all 11 guys had to do their job for that to happen.
Yeah.
And, Coach, you said after the game you complimented Kevin on how tough he is.
Yeah.
And what went into that? Because he had to battle the whole game. It wasn't pretty the whole time either, but he made the plays he needed to, including a long throw before that to set that up.
Yep. Yeah. So Kevin, and like everyone has said, that Guthrie had not been scored on. I don't know what kind of yardage they'd given up. I don't know anything about that, but we went out and we were close to having 300 yards of offense, and Kevin, I think he threw for 168 and he rushed for 50, and he was banged up going into the game. He was already banged up, and so we knew that he was hurting a little bit, and we knew he was going to have to gut through some stuff. And then just the way that he ran, and he lowered his head, and he wasn't running away from anybody. He never stepped out of bounds. I mean, he was a warrior in that game, and it was very impressive to watch. Because at one point I just said, hey, I'm going to tell Coach Jay not to run you anymore. And he said, no, don't tell him that. And then he took off, and it was one of the plays he had to come out on because he laid there for a second on the sideline. And so I was like, hey, you're going back in, but I'm going to – and he said, no, don't do that, And so he's just he's a tough kid and obviously a really good player. But it's all these guys, there was a lot of guys that had to gut through some stuff. And really just gutting through an entire game that these guys haven't had to play 4 quarters in a little while, and again, we've been needing that. I've talked about that before, that we needed one of those games, and so it was good to see us go out and play a 4-quarter game and finish in the end the way that we did, and big-time test from a big-time football team, and our guys stepped up and played really well.
Well, there's so many other questions I could ask about that game, but we'll move on to this. Tanner, what are you going to do with your Friday night off?
I haven't really thought about it. I mean, we're more just worried about the next game. So I've kind of just been preparing for that, and I'll probably find something to do when we get there. But it's kind of weird having a Friday off.
All right, Caden, what about you?
Probably get a little extra sleep in, and then
that's good.
Get ready for Piedmont next week.
By the way, Caden, what's your second favorite sport?
Probably basketball. I played basketball all the way, and then I stopped playing freshman year. But probably basketball. I love basketball.
All right. And then, Coach Dunn, any chance you'll be at that Piedmont-McGinnis game?
I've said that I was going to go to that game, but I know how I am. I don't know by the time we get to Friday, I might be watching that from the recliner. That's a good thing about all these live streams. You don't have to feel like you have to go to every single game like we used to. 10 years ago, I remember that on an open week, you were going to go scout no matter what. And, the way it is now, we can watch those games on the live stream and see what you need to see. And so we'll see. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad trip. We could go down and maybe go to Ishans, get some chicken or something. But I don't know. We'll see how we feel on Friday.
All right. So, as you could tell, Carl Albert will not be playing this Friday. I'd understand it if you want to go to a different network and watch the stream of the Bishop against Piedmont game, because that is going to be a significant game, as that's Carl Albert's next opponent. But also, if Piedmont loses, Carl Albert will be the district champs, and so they could rest anyone else they needed to against Piedmont if it came to that. But we also encourage you to mostly watch the Midwest City and Del City games on the Oklahoma Sports Network. All right, Coach, guys, thank you very much. Appreciate it. We look forward to talking with whoever comes next week, and we look forward to what Carl Albert has for the playoff run. All right, coming up next, we talk Carl Albert Wrestling right here on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
where sports is our middle name. We are the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Let's go. Miranda. Travis! What business do you want to start?
I want to start a car mechanic shop.
Let's say we go to Scissor Tooth.
Ready to go get some coffee?
Yeah, let's go. But it's a great space.
Yeah, and it's so close to downtown.
You want to go grab something to eat? Let's do it.
What time would you last Wednesday or last Friday?
You got it.
Winger, you want to do slack? I think she was from
One,
Rose State.
2, 3.
Woohoo!
Congratulations, Rose State college graduates.
Experience the best wash in town at Tommy's Express. You'll love our open and bright tunnels, easy loading flat belt conveyor, unlimited membership, and free vacuums and mat washers. Experience the difference and visit Tommy's Express today.
Welcome back to the Middale Sports Report on the Oklahoma Sports Network. Our final segment of the night, we get to talk Carl Albert Wrestling. They are the defending 5A champs, and joining me is their coach for boys wrestling, Kurt Hodges, and girls wrestling, but they're the defending champs for boys wrestling. All right, Coach, first of all, how long have you been at Carl Albert?
This is at the high school, year 12. Been in the Carl Albert, at the junior high and middle school for 29 years total.
That's putting in a lot of time there. It must be a very rewarding job.
Yeah, it's great place to work. And always felt like it was home. So, just awesome place, awesome kids, awesome community. So, didn't ever want to go anywhere.
All right, and then let's just talk about what happened last year. I mean, first ever state championship for wrestling, and what was that experience? And at what point do you realize that you guys had won it? By the way,
well, first off, it was kind of 31 years in the making since the last one. First one for me as a coach, as a team. But on the first day, we had a pretty good, about a 20-point lead. Going into the second day, and we'd kind of ran some numbers and kind of decided, where we needed to be as far as how many matches we need to win. And then in the consolation finals, consolation semis, Nathan Sutterfield and Raylan Sherman kind of put us in a good position to really kind of finalize it. And Raylan's match really did kind of seal it. But just, it's hard to describe. I've, been asked this question, like what it feels like, and it's just, the feeling is just, kind of indescribable at times. You feel great just because, there's been a lot of work put into it. But also, more important, it's just, it's about the kids and the program and just so happy for them and, the families. And they put in a lot of time, in the development of these kids as well. So it's, we get to play a small part in their life. So, but for the most part, just, just thrilled to death because it's a long time coming and just couldn't have happened to a better group of kids.
Let's look at a couple pictures from that. So, pulling up one right now. Okay, what can you say about this picture here?
Well, it's probably the one picture that's kind of represents us the most. It's at the end of the night when you kind of get to go down there and get your photo with everybody and hold that banner is just it's a really really special moment and just kind of the culmination of everything. We had quite a few seniors last year who've been really great to this program over since they were in middle school. And had a huge impact on it. So, their picture, now gets to be part of our, Carl Albert Wrestling and Carl Albert Sports legacy. So just to, kind of give you chills. Still sometimes have to pinch myself a little bit because it doesn't happen very often, and it's pretty exciting stuff.
And also they got their medals. So
yeah.
That's something that I've won. I mean, that's what I've gotten before playing basketball. So it's always a good thing to have with you to remember.
You bet.
Let's look at the other picture here. All right, so and there it is. Now, was this picture taken before the season started?
This is just right after. So this picture at Carl Albert Fieldhouse, all the state champions get pictures, the teams in the big wall murals, and so that's going to be the one that has us up there on the in the Fieldhouse lobby for future generations. Titans to see. So that'll be our picture when it's up and ready.
And okay, so now we look ahead to this season. How many seniors did you lose, and how many experienced wrestlers do you have coming back?
Well, we lost kind of a good core group of kids with about 4 or 5 seniors that were at the tournament and scored some points. But we've got Casey Miller and Braden Masai coming back, and we've got a couple other state qualifiers: Braden Anderson, Brock Johnson, and Caden Longstreet. So we've got 5 core guys that we can kind of go with, and then we have some new guys coming in. Freshman Cash Wiley's going to make an impact for us, and we'll get a senior Leighton Levitt who's kind of been in the background a little bit, but has gotten better each year. So we've got some good wrestlers in the room, and so people ask kind of what's coming back, and I'm just we've got a good group, and I'd keep an eye on us.
All right. Well, let's talk to 2 of them. So who you got with you?
I've got Kaysen Miller here. Kaysen's our senior captain. He's been, kind of like one of the driving forces with us as well. He's a 3-time state qualifier, 2-time runner-up, placed 4th as a freshman, and just, one of the leaders on the team. And we've got Braden Masai here. He was a freshman last year, qualified state tournament, and, came up just a little bit short on placing a couple points, but both excellent wrestlers, just hard workers that never miss, and just kind of the type of people we want in the program that are dedicated to what we're doing.
All right, Kaysen, we'll start with you, a senior here. And when did you get involved in wrestling? How old were you?
I was probably four when I got involved. My dad got me into it when I was 4, and I joined the Carl Albert Little League program.
Okay, so that's a good feeder program, I guess, to have going. And all these years later, you see the results. And what's the weight you wrestle at?
I was 138 last year, so 138 this year, 144. We'll see.
All right, and what do you think what helps make you successful? What are your strengths as a wrestler?
I'm pretty good on my feet. A lot of motion. I'm very, very driven, and I just never quit.
What was it like winning state for you? I mean, when you found it out and you got the medal, what was that? How would you describe the experience?
Well, it felt great. We found out before the finals really started, so there was really no pressure going into the finals. Just going in to wrestle hard, try to win an individual state championship. I fell short, but the team state championship was awesome. Felt great.
All right, and then let's bring in Braden. By the way, both you could move your microphones a little closer there. Understandable. It's easy to forget. All right, Braden, so you were experiencing a lot of success as a freshman. Did you have to wrestle against a lot of older wrestlers last year?
Yeah, I always kind of wrestled with seniors like Kaysen or Grant, always people a little bigger.
Well, I imagine that served you well, but how do you figure what helps you hang in with them? Because you would think their bodies are a little bit more advanced because they're older, and that's the age where boys will get a lot stronger in a short amount of time. So how do you hang in with the older guys?
Always trying to move around and learning more from it, and just trying to keep going, kind of.
All right. And what are some of the goals you have this year?
Win state, team-wise and individually, and dual state.
Very good. And what's your weight you'll be wrestling at?
26 this year.
Okay. And then, Kaysen, same question. I'm sure it's similar. What goals do you have?
Yes, sir, to be a state champion.
To do it again?
Yes, sir.
And individually?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how close did you come individually last year?
I got second. I lost 6-4.
Okay. That'd be tough, but, I'm sure that experience will serve you well. So I asked some other wrestlers this, but do you guys have anyone from another school you might be going up against that you think about some as, hey, this is going to be tough. I got to be prepared for this person.
I think, there's always good people, but I think I'm the best, so I think I'll get it done.
All right, Braden, what about you?
I'm not really too worried about other people. I'm always focusing on how I can get better and just staying in my lane and not really worrying about that.
All right, and Coach, how would you describe how practice has looked this year? Now that you have, you're replacing a few seniors, like you said.
Well, we're starting the 4th week, and we're getting better. It's a little bit of a process, but I mean the kids are working hard, and that's all we can ask. They're real coachable, and they give a lot of effort in practice. So we're still like everybody a little bit, kind of getting a little bit of the dust off and just working on fundamentals and basics like that. But they're going hard and they're giving effort, which is what we demand the most, because we talk about just being very fundamental and very sound in our positioning and stuff like that. So we work on that a lot, and they respond to that because those are the things that win big matches and win titles, is being able to score points when you need to and be able to wrestle when you need to in basic positions. So it's going good, and we're just looking to every day we talk about just getting a little bit better and trying to be consistent in what we're doing. And so that's pretty much our main goal, and just kind of build ourselves up and give ourselves the best chance to win in every match.
All right. One fun question here real quick. Guys, what is your second favorite sport? Braden, we'll start with you.
I'd probably go with football.
Okay. Kaysen?
I like MMA a lot. MMA's fun to watch.
Okay. Well, you know what? When you watch that, do you hear of any former wrestlers that transition to that?
Yes, sir. I hear about a lot of former wrestlers.
Does that give you any ideas?
A little bit, but probably not.
Are you hoping to wrestle in college?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll be interested to see where you're able to land there. Coach, what about you?
Favorite sport?
Second favorite sport.
Second favorite sport?
Yeah.
I don't think I'd have a second favorite
Okay.
sport. It's kind of like wrestling. It's kind of like the dominant one. But no, I like college football. I like watching that. So.
Okay, very good. Yeah. All right, and last thing, Coach, and
Yeah.
I don't know if you emailed this to me, but I didn't write it down. But we did talk about some last week, some big dates that you would
Right.
want people to know.
Yeah, so our big dates, when Coach Wade was here, he started a tournament, and we've kind of carried on the tradition. So it's our 58th Malcolm Wade Invitational, which is like one of the toughest 5A tournaments in the state. It's kind of a mid-state preview. A lot of ranked teams are there. That's January 12th and 13th at the Fieldhouse, and it's just a lot of great wrestling. It's a girls and boys event. And then that following Tuesday on the 16th of January, we'll do our district duels, which will be the qualifier for dual state. We're hosting that. And then I believe January 30th is our senior night. Honor guys like Kaysen and Caden Longstreet, those guys are seniors. And we're also going to do like an alumni night as well. So those are kind of our bigger dates. We travel quite a bit this year on our schedule, but there'll be plenty of chances to kind of catch us up close.
All right. Well, you heard those dates, guys. I'm really looking forward to this Malcolm Wade Invitational, but all the dates, of course, important there. So be sure to mark those down and support Carl Albert Wrestling and all the wrestling teams. So it's a great sport. It does a lot for the people that participate in that, and you learn a lot of good values from that. So we want to thank all the wrestling coaches for being with us tonight, all the football coaches, all the wrestlers and football players. It was a great night. That's why we went long, but it was worth it. And just to remind you, on the network, no Carl Albert this week. They'll be back in action next week for football against Piedmont. But you can tune in to Midwest City at Noble and the big game that will determine the district champion in District 3 for 5A, Del City at Coweta. I want to thank, once again, my producer, Jacoby, camera operator, Cedric, and I want to thank Alicia, our production assistant, for helping us. You've been watching the Mid-Del Sports Report on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Thanks for watching this presentation of the Oklahoma Sports Network.